Hello, I'm Justin, and on Christmas Day at 5:10 in the afternoon, I sat down in my dad's shed, which is where I'm recording this voiceover right now, locked open a bag of chocolates, poured a can of Guinness, and immersed myself in 55 minutes of sweet Doctor Who content. And wow, what a roller coaster. I started the episode hyped. The hype died a little, then it came back, then it died again, and then it came back again. And that's basically what this episode was for me. Joy to the World is most definitely a Stephen Moffat Christmas special. I feel some Matt Smith vibes, but maybe those are just Moffat vibes, maybe that's what that is. Now I'll just warn you now, there's going to be spoilers in this video for the new Doctor Who Christmas special, so if you've not seen it yet, go away, watch it, then come back. The episode was marketed to centre around a time hotel. Basically, the Doctor, at the start of the episode, is looking for milk. He comes to this time hotel where every single door is a time portal into another time in history. And on this day, the hotel's doing a special Christmas Everywhere All at Once. Every single door leads to Christmas in a different place at a different time, which is where the Doctor meets Joy, who is at a random hotel in 2024 at Christmas in London, I think, somewhere in England. Now, first of all, I feel like this was marketed to be a cool Doctor and one-off companion adventure with the Doctor and Joy, and it wasn't really that. I've seen people and articles argue that Nicola's character Joy was underutilized, a waste even, and I think that is subjective. Did we get that classic Doctor companion adventure? Maybe not. But did we get something cool, something interesting? Yes, absolutely we did. There were a few lines early on in this episode about mansplaining and things like that. Very Moffat, very woke, ooh, disgusting. I'll be honest, unironically, these lines annoyed me a bit, but I caught that feeling. When I realised that those lines annoyed me, I quickly realised it wasn't the lines themselves that annoyed me. It wasn't the fact that a character was complaining about men or the use of the term mansplaining right off the bat that bothered me. It was the fact that I could immediately foresee the tweets and the YouTube videos and the articles immediately writing off and chucking this episode in the bin for being woke, or for being another mark of Doctor Who's demise. Maybe that's dumb though, to let myself get annoyed at fueling that fire if the fuel itself doesn't bother me on a personal level. Maybe that's a sign of me starting to become chronically online, and I think that might be an issue with online media discourse as a whole. The whole anti-woke modern Who haters can't really matter and shouldn't really matter to me when the show is clearly doing well, or at least it seems to be at the moment. Now, I want to talk about the Anita section, or more broadly the part of this episode where the Doctor meets himself and gets trapped in that hotel room in London in 2024 and has to wait a year to return back to the time hotel and continue his mission. And during this year, he stays and he works in his time hotel so that he can get access to the room right away when the portal opens again in Christmas 2025. And during this year, he spends time building this beautiful platonic relationship with the character Anita, who works at the hotel as well, or owns the hotel, I'm not sure. And as a concept, I love this. As a character, I adore what we saw of Anita. This segment of the episode was charming. It was cute, it was interesting, I enjoyed watching it. But honestly, there was just no emotional impact for me when the two characters departed. It was this emotional moment, there were tears, and don't get me wrong, every individual moment between these two characters I think was well written. I think it was fun to watch, it was heartwarming, but there just wasn't enough of it. There wasn't enough impact built for that departure scene to be as emotional as the characters were finding it. Maybe my mind will change on that when I rewatch this episode once or twice, but first impressions, it wasn't enough. I think maybe if there was some kind of stakes within that year, if there was some kind of mission to be done during that year where Anita could get more involved, we could get more hooked onto her, then maybe it'd work. But I think it just wasn't as impactful as it could have been. Look, Modern Who, in my opinion, often has mild to moderate pacing issues on the best of days. And it's not that the writers working on it aren't capable of good pacing, because we all know that they are. But Doctor Who stories are huge in scale. They introduce a new setting every episode, new characters, an alien or supernatural threat, then they resolve it, usually within 45 minutes. I am a believer that most of the time a Doctor Who story would benefit from an extra 15, 30, even 45 minutes to tell a story. This episode got an extra 10 minutes, and instead of telling a normal Doctor Who Christmas story and using that extra time to flesh out Joy's character more or spend more time building the stakes believably, they just added a whole segment of the Doctor spending an entire year with this brand new side character, squeezing that into the big middle section of the episode, and ruined that potential. If this was a film, I'd take it. If this was a 90-minute special, I'd take it. But in 55 minutes, I just don't think there was enough time to pull that off, as much as I love Moffat's writing. Now, I feel like this review might seem overly critical or negative so far. That's just because the things I love about any Doctor Who story are to be expected. I always have fun watching this show, it's my favourite show, and this episode was no different. I actually adored this episode. I thought it was fun, it was interesting, it was visually fantastic in my humble opinion. I love the parts about and including Joy's mother. I love that not so subtle diss on the UK's previous Tory government and their unforgivable actions and behaviour during the COVID pandemic. Moffat is a genius. I thought the ending was weird as fuck and a bit silly, but it was beautiful. It was entertaining. It was Doctor Who. Ncuti's performance as the 15th Doctor continues to have me in a chokehold. He is phenomenal. Perfect casting. He emits this unmistakable Doctor energy, and I hope we have him in this show for years to come. I loved that little Ruby Sunday cameo at the end. Wow. All in all, this Doctor Who special was basically on the same level as the church on Ruby Road for me. Granted, we've not seen how it ages yet. I might learn to love this episode so much, I might like it less. It's definitely not my favourite episode we've gotten this year, but it was fun. I enjoyed it a lot. My main issue is just that it wasn't long enough to allow this fantastic story to fulfill its full potential. I would, however, love to hear what you think, so comment below and let me know your thoughts. Now, before we end this video, I would quite like to read some comments and reviews that you guys have left on my posts. Let's have a look. So first I'm going to have a quick look at my YouTube post. I posted this 15 hours ago, right after finishing the episode, and the polls say 30% loved it, around 40% thought it was just good, 17% said it was okay, and 8% of people were disappointed. Let's have a look at some of these comments. It wasn't terrible, but the plot felt disjointed, and none of the side characters got as much attention as they needed for me to have a proper emotional attachment to them. Decently enjoyable with some good moments, and ultimately mediocre. This isn't far from what I said. I think I probably liked it a bit more than this person did, but I agree the side characters did not get as much attention as they needed for me to have a proper emotional attachment. Yeah, I feel that, that makes sense. This person said, honestly, it was such a nothing episode. There was literally no plot. It felt like I got to the end of the episode and I was still waiting for something to actually happen. This episode wasn't really about anything, and they could have so much more with that concept, done so much more, yeah. I mean, the episode did have a plot, obviously. They did have a plot, there were stakes, things did happen. I think they could have dived more into what Velengard wanted with this star. I think some of the marketing told us more than the episode itself, which is kind of weird. But I don't think it was really about Velengard. I think the focus was on the characters, which again is more reason why they should have given us more time to get attached. So I can understand it. I think this comment's a bit harsh, because the episode did have a plot, but you know. Let's move on. This person said, Stephen Moffat playing Stephen Moffat bingo, but I mean that as a good thing. I get ya. This episode was very, very, very Stephen Moffat, but I love Stephen Moffat. Okay, now I'm gonna read some of your replies to me in the Justinfication Discord server. Link in description, by the way, if you wanna be part of the community and maybe get involved with some videos if you want. Alex said, oh my god, I loved it. I think this might be one of my go-to rewatches for Christmas. I can only assume I'm gonna love it even while on rewatch. My god, Ncuti is amazing. That is one thing I can't get on board with. Ncuti is amazing. What phenomenal casting for the Doctor. Oh, this person said, okay, the new special was actually pretty good. It suffers from some of the minor shoehorned modern dialogue, Why is RTD so insistent on making jokes about mansplaining, but it's easy to look past and see a good story that's perfect for Christmas? I mean, I already spoke about these lines before earlier in this video, so we can just move on, but it does seem like generally people have their slight issues with this episode, but the feedback seems to be positive. People seem to really enjoy this episode, which makes me very happy, and it kind of gives me hope that I might enjoy it even more on rewatch. This person said, they gave Joy to the World an 8.75 out of 10, almost incredible. The episode was incredible for the first 45 minutes, then the plot kind of fizzled out and got a little confusing, but was still decent. Ncuti was insanely good. Most of the dialogue went super hard. The year the Doctor stayed on Earth was good, and the scene where Joy shouts about Bojo screwing the country over was great too. I can't disagree with any of that. The ending was weird. I loved it. Very Doctor Who, very Moffat. Weird ending, but I didn't dislike it. I enjoyed watching it. Logan, who actually edited the A Christmas Carol Sci-Fi Haters reaction on this channel, said, "This was a funny ass episode. The ending was ultimate cheese. Moffat went full fuck you mode with bootstrap paradox. And I thought it was really nice to have an earthbound Doctor, and Anita was great. I thought it was fun to have the Doctor complain everyone leaves him, but the inverse happens where he ends up leaving Anita, although I'm surprised it didn't really touch on that. Joy seemed surprisingly sidelined in this story, but she had good moments too, so overall, a fun, Ncuti-filled ride." I can't disagree with that, really. Yeah, I kind of agree with that completely. I would kind of, and I'm not saying we should get that because there's so much we can do with Ncuti, but okay, as a hypothetical, wouldn't a series of Doctor Who with Ncuti completely earthbound be just very fun? If he just like found a group of mates on Earth and got up to all kinds of crazy shit, I think that'd be such a fun series. Wasn't a third Doctor stuck on Earth for a while? I've never watched much of Classic Who, but I feel like that happened. Yeah, Joy was kind of sidelined, but I think the only reason Joy having such a small part was an issue is because it was marketed to be, this is the Doctor and Joy, when really it was the Doctor and Joy was in bits of it, Anita was in bits of it, Trev was in bits of it, you know what I mean? I think it's more the marketing. I think the marketing maybe gave people ideas, which is what gave people some kind of bad feelings going in and out of it, but if we take it for what it is, the episode was pretty solid, you know what I mean? Episode was pretty good. Yeah, so that was my review of Doctor Who Joy to the World, the 2024 Christmas special. Please do give me all of your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to read it and reply and have a little more discussion. Before we end this video, I want to take a moment to thank my wonderful channel members. You'll see their names on the screen right now. Yeah, look at those guys. Look at those wonderful people. Oh yeah. Yeah, if you want to become a channel member for exclusive perks and content and things like that, check the link in the description or click the join button next to my name under this video. Thank you very much. I will see you next time. Bye bye. Mwah.